Hello everyone, I'm the RPG Recusant, and after a little bit of grinding, we are hopping back into Final Fantasy 13. So, I've collected quite a bit of CP, and I just didn't want to, level any of it up. But right now, Hope is skyrocketing along towards his role level in Ravager. Because basically it's one of the primary roles. Nearly every single character has it, purely because the building of the stagger gauge is so important, you know? And similarly, we're going to just skyrocket Lightning along her path as well. And again, like, I think I was in maybe 10-15 minutes of just doing this little grind here. And I got over 1,000 points, you know? And what we're going to find out this episode is there's a much better grind spot. But just showing you how quick this can be now that Hope has Fire. He is well able to do like AoE attacks and stuff. So it makes taking care of these mob fights a lot better. But once you get a preemptive strike, like, because you're able to get the enemy staggered so quickly, it really isn't an issue whatsoever. And like that, 20 seconds of your time, 22 seconds to be precise, and, you know, 104 CP, and just hopping quickly into the Crystarium again. We're going to just get that role level almost. One more battle should see us through. But it's so funny because when you start seeing the other battles that are, you know, ahead of us with like much more tougher enemies that take much more time, because they're only single enemies, you're only getting like 36 or so EXP. Whereas when you're defeating multiple enemies, like the slugs and the wolves here, you just get way more experience points, you know? At least for this part of the game. And what you're going to be noticing is, because we're in a paradigm that has a Ravager, Lightning's AI, when she unlocked the passive Ravage ability, it means that if she puts Blitz in her first... Oh, and we're level 2 Ravager. And now it's just the case of going around the Crystarium and just making sure we pick up those other bits and pieces there. And we're just going to finish off the Lightning, getting her that bit closer, but we're not quite there yet. But
the military uses this place for bioweapons research. Lots of angry teeth and claws.
Yeah, we've been noticing a lot of angry beasts, that's for sure.
Just block out everything else.
Yeah, just block out everything, Hope, and use Libra. Well, don't forget to block out, you know, the bad mama trauma. But, you know, get through the battles alive, you know. But what I was saying is that Lightning's AI has the passive ability Ravage. And it basically means when she is in a team with a Ravager, her Blitz command, if it's like the first thing in her skill set, she will do way more damage and build up stagger way more. It's just a passive ability. And you'll notice when we went to Synergist, even when she used Blitz, it was just Blitz. But you'll notice when we're in Ravager Commando, she will instead do a Ravage command, which is just basically an upgraded Blitz command. And that upgraded Blitz command can only happen if you have a Ravager in the party. And if you happen to have two commandos that both have the Ravage ability, both of them get that bonus. But as for now, Lightning is the one that has that bonus. And you saw that at the start of this combat. Instead of the Blitz command coming up, it literally said Ravage and then Blitz. So You know, just because you're playing the commando role, which is just basically attack, 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 or cast magic to attack, doesn't mean there aren't going to be certain elements or passive abilities that are going to be important to collect along the way, and can vary between characters. Because, for example, Saz has the commando skill, but his blitz works very differently to Lightning's blitz, that works very similarly to another character's blitz, and works maybe differently to Snow's blitz. And certain characters like Hope, if he ever unlocked commando, mightn't even be able to use blitz. So it all depends on, you know, what is available and what's at stake. Now, what Hope just unlocked there is actually another TP ability. Like Summoning, like Libra, Quake is a TP ability learned within certain Crystarium roles for each of the characters. And finally, Lightning has leveled up. We're going to just push along to get all the other crystals unlocked and move along with our one-way path, again following the lights. The light meandered that way, but to the other side we have a treasure chest and a behemoth, so we might as well test out and see how strong we have become. These guys are always going to be
Maybe we should try something else.
a tough opponent. And again, what I really like and why I like to keep in the battles is that we are hearing, you know, the banter between the characters, and they're being so supportive to each other in situations where it's like, yes, the behemoth can do strong offense, strong magic and physical attacks. It is charging up really quickly, so we're going to definitely want a Libra to know what it's weak to, and it seems to be water and fire. And at this point I'm like, do you know what, we have 2 Ravengers that are level 2, so really probably should be changing over to like dual casting. But with enemies like the behemoth, you don't even need to stagger them. Just the fact that the stagger gauge is increasing can mean, you know, you're dealing more and more damage with your commando. Like, you don't necessarily need the stagger, you know? It's just that war of attrition to keep the stagger slowly building. You can just be doing way more damage as you go along. But cutscene inbound, I'll chat to you after.
What is it?
We need to hide. They don't seem like they're even looking for us. I mean, we're Lassie and we're on the loose.
SciComm's keeping it all under wraps. They don't want their failure publicized. Better to lose us than lose their pride.
So the other soldiers don't know about us, right?
Right. They don't know anything about any fugitives.
So again, we have another elevator. We love this for ourselves. We love an owl map reset. But Hope being that little bit more, I suppose, savvy, that little bit more aware of his surroundings, being able to like keep light safe. And we're just going to do a quick little bit of upgrading, so please forgive me as I squander all our stuff. But we're going to upgrade the Blazefire Saber, get lightning a bit more damage. SciComm was so ashamed of Lassie getting away that they would rather just not at all let on that anything happened. So for the most part, they're kind of safe now unless they get outwardly exposed. but unless there's some sort of Lassie tracking system, I think they're going to be pretty fine. This is where I want to highlight the power of Fira, the second level tier spell of fire magic that Hope's unlocked. It does AoE damage, and so when you have enemies like that where you can have an AoE splash attack, you can have Lightning run in, do her blitz attacks. It's amazing. And again, I'm just showing you guys this takes a bit longer, but you can just do the room reset if you want to just quickly go a few rounds with those particular enemies just to get a bit more of a boost in CP. But as you can see, we're coming to the very near end. Like, there's not an awful lot left to collect. The medic has an awful lot of HP rolls for Hope, which I mean makes sense. You want your healer to survive long enough to keep healing, you know. And again, with this fight and with enemies like this that are clustered, just throwing an AoE, you know, attack into the mix, getting all of them, then Lightning running in with her own blitz AoE attack, really makes short work of these enemies. And it's so sweet, like Hope's literally like going like, oh, like I did it, and like, you know, just like I planned. She's getting like so much more confident in battling and in being the party leader. And like that's what you want to see with natural character progression that you wouldn't have necessarily seen if the game wasn't as strict on these are the people we're pairing up, these are who you can play as, these are who are in control at what time. So the development seems natural and, you know, planned, because like there's nothing worse than being like, oh, here's a character who's having a big impactful moment, but I've never used them once in the entire game. And like I feel that can sometimes happen with Kamari at Mount Gagazet. You know, he has this huge moment with Biran and Yankee, and they had to specifically alter his fight so dramatically because they're like, what if nobody used Kamari at all? And therefore, like, they're stuck with like a level 1 barely upgraded Kamari, and they had to then, you know, completely respec the fight, and it just loses its impact. Whereas we know and are seeing Lightning and Hope shaping each other in different ways, and Hope really losing that timid nature and just kind of being driven kind of blindly by this quest for revenge, and like also seeking Light's approval in like proving himself strong enough. But like we as an audience know he wants to get strong so he can eventually like take out Snow. Like he is on a revenge quest to avenge his mother, and he's kind of gone from the stage of denial and fear into just, you know, anger, and that anger is going to spill over into attacking Snow at one point or another. So just leaving this in, just to talk about as well, the little gifts and stuff going forward, and like the little community tab. I'm going to try and put more polls in and just kind of have you guys engage and comment with the series. Like, what's your favorite character and why? What's your favorite role perhaps and why? Little things like that. Just leave a comment and let me know if those are things that you're interested in, or, you know, also be honest and kind of say, oh, don't spam my feed with silly questions. But I really do want the like community to like get more of a conversation going. And this, ladies and gents, is why you check every treasure chest, because you never know when there might be something really useful in just some random treasure chest at the side. And this is repping it's an absolutely amazing purple boomerang So repping the TH colors from my good friend Dino and the gang over at TH It Up. Might leave a link in the description if I'm able to give them a shout out. But yeah, Hope has a powerful boomerang and it is quite powerful. It gives the best boost to magic in the game. So definitely one we might be keeping a hold of for longer. So enjoy it while we have it now. And what's super nice is like, look at Lightning. She's gone from being so cold to just like, you know, good job. Well done. You know, praise. You know, she's softening up. She's letting that kind of hard exterior melt away a little bit. But as I say, a lot of the fights, they become, you know, the same different enemies. Like, you've seen me defeat them once. It's pretty handy to know how I'm going to defeat them again. And we have an unavoidable behemoth now with friends. So the first time, you know, we have a treasure chest. Do you want to face the behemoth? It's kind of a bit of a risk. But now it's like, no, this is your gatekeep. You have to be able to defeat a behemoth and these other enemies in order to progress. And my thinking is get rid of the wolves. The wolves basically can do massive damage and buff themselves up really strong. So we're going to just try and keep Commando up, get our Protect up. We don't really need Shell, but we're kind of in a bit of a dicey situation, so a quick swap over to Combat Clinic's a different name for it, but like, you know, the double healer paradigm. And now we get to just completely attack this behemoth here. And now here we go with 2 level 2 Ravengers. Just watch the stagger bar, like it absolutely flies up. And you have to especially remember, Lightning has, you know, 4 combat bars instead of just Hope's 3. So that will really just show the difference. And then if we just move back over to Commando, because the stagger bar is so high and then the Commando is just giving such a boost, he drops in seconds. And realistically, if I had have maybe kept to more of a Commando Ravenger combo after a couple of rounds of, you know, the constant Ravenger, could have been different. But there is another cutscene, so I will chat to you guys afterwards.
I wonder how the others are doing.
Saz and Vanille? Who knows? Even if they got away, they'll get caught eventually. Then they'll have to choose. Resist or surrender.
Surrender. Do you think he's still alive?
You mean Snow? He's too stubborn to die. And that's his best quality. He's arrogant and chummy from the get-go. He thinks he's everybody's pal. Never liked him much. He leads around a bunch of kids. Gang called Nora.
Where'd they get the name Nora?
It's a stupid acronym. Their little code stands for no obligations, rules, or authority. Must be nice.
It's irresponsible.
Well then.
So yeah, Hope, for obvious reasons, not Snow's biggest fan. But like in that cutscene, you know, Light's very much the pragmatist of, you know, the gang can keep trying to, you know, stay safe and stay hidden, but they are enemies of the state. They are going to be a danger to themselves eventually. And so, yeah, I didn't mean to like skip over that. But basically, we come to a new thing where it's like, if you've been skipping battles, sorry, you can't now. That basically the electric fences are there to keep the wildlife separated, and you need to basically get rid of the enemies so that the barriers will disappear.
This is an army facility for turning wildlife
So,
into weapons.
we fight our first silver lobo.
We'll have to be sure
And these guys are actually really strong debuffers. They can put a lot of nasty statuses like poison on the party. And our medics can't deal with poison at all. They need the Asuna spell, which we do not have. So just be mindful of that. You're going to have to go to your items or just finish the battle quickly, because status effects don't happen or don't stick between battles, you know. But yeah, it's just warning you, you have to like defeat all the enemies, and that's pretty much that. But because of our grinding earlier, we're kind of nearing our maximum potential. And it's so funny when like the game kind of does naturally slowly make it so that you should be in some way not super under-leveled by kind of enforcing some of these battles. But we're going to get to the stage now where, at least for Hope and, you know, Lightning, they're going to get to the point where there's nothing else to spend the Crystarium points on. They just are going to have to like, okay, we just sit here with our extra Crystarium points until we get to the point where we get to spend them again when the Crystarium expands. And it's going to expand by the end of this chapter, which we're not really near yet, and yet we're about to get level 2 in every one of our skills. Well, Lightning isn't, because she doesn't get a roll level for medic, but you know what I mean. We're literally about to you know, hit our capstone. But Lightning has now got a new accessory, so let's go in and equip an no, I don't really want that. Yeah, so just equip a second accessory. They'd obviously be way more effective if they were leveled, but we're just short on resources at the moment. But this is actually the best grinding spot in the game. It's just these enemies are a little bit too strong to do this like straight away. But basically, this is our TP ability in action. Quake just does damage to everything in the area. And so with a large amount of enemies, if you Quake them, you'll ensure you stagger all of them in the battle. But watch this. You just hop down, fight these enemies, And what's super funny is that these enemies don't respawn when you go up. But for whatever reason in the coding, whenever you go down, the group of, or the cornucopia of slugs reappears. And there's another interesting trick with the camera, which is where if you don't see the enemies, strictly speaking, they don't see you. So if you specifically run with your camera facing Hope and like not even looking at the enemies, even if you run into them, because you didn't see them, they didn't see you, and you get a preemptive strike. So definitely use that to your advantage for some very quick grinding. Because look, hop down, and you can even see in the minimap the little blips of red. And then don't do what I did, which was literally not the advice that I gave. But like if you turn the camera to look at Hope as you're running towards them, because they don't see, or you don't see them, they can't see you off camera. And now with our last little push, we now have Medic level 2, Hope having all level 2 rolls with all of his abilities maxed out. And then obviously if Hope's able to do so, then so is Lightning, finishing off Ravager and finally getting a nice 35 extra hit points in Medic. And at this point, any other CP earned throughout the chapter is just icing on the cake.
Wild animals can be even more violent and unpredictable than the trained to kill variety. Be careful.
So just tidy up another batch of these guys. Using Fire Rat as just an AoE damage in conjunction with Blitz makes this really, really short work, you know?
That's it, Hope.
But realistically, that's kind of going to be the episode, guys. Not an awful lot more to talk about except for the fact that we've now explored great ways of giving your characters that level boost. And as I say, our characters now are at their max development. Any and all, you know, experience is just a nice boost for the next set of characters that come along next, you know?
Caged in like the animals.
But here we have another behemoth as kind of another gatekeep moment. So you know it's a new one when the stagger bar is question marks. So even though we've been fighting behemoths, this is a different variety of behemoth. It is feral, therefore it is going to 100% be a lot more aggressive, and so we want to stagger it as soon as possible. And it has a low stagger resistance and a low stagger threshold. So very quickly we have it staggered, and now we're going to watch launch. When a commando starts their chain with a staggered enemy that's on the ground, they can launch it into the air and follow up with a combo. And if the Ravager was better timed, he could use the spells to actually keep the enemy juggled in the air. But also they're able to throw us up in the air as well to interrupt us. But that's going to be our episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next time.
We've tripped the security alarm. The observation battalion will be coming.
Let him come.